Well, good Sunday morning, everybody, and thank you for watching Beyond the Headlines. The first and perhaps only presidential debate, well, it is in the books. With no guarantee of a second debate, Vice President Harris and former President Trump faced off in Philadelphia last Tuesday. With essentially a toss-up in the polls, the stakes couldn't have been higher for the debate, offering both candidates opportunities to gain a decisive edge. Well, during the debate, Harris touted her experience as a former prosecutor and went after Trump on stage, while Trump targeted her record on the economy and immigration. But the race will be decided in towns and cities across the country, just like this one. So we turn to you, our viewers, to hear your thoughts, and you didn't hold back in hundreds of comments. Here's what you had to say about the debate. One supporter of Harris says, feeling like the former president presented no solutions and wouldn't be a good leader for the country, while others saying Harris lost the debate before it even started, saying that a Harris presidency would be a reflection of the last 4 years. And even though one of the two will become the next president, some expressed frustration on having to choose between them, calling both a bad option. Well, we even caught up with some Laredoans out on the streets who remain just as split offline as online.
They didn't cover all the issues that I would have liked for them to cover, specifically some of the taxing on unrealized gains. I wish they would have talked about the unemployment rate rising and of course the economy overall, but I thought it was very spirited and, to be honest, Camilla impressed me.
I want to see us go back to days where just 4 years ago we were better off than we are right now. And that's a question that I think people need to consider. Were we better off? Yes, we were better off under President Trump than we are right now.
Well, that's where we begin this morning's discussion. Making up our panel, we've got Sergio Mora. Of course, he's the former Webb County Democratic Chair and KGNS political contributor. And this week, KGNS General Manager Luis Villarreal couldn't make it, but we are delighted to welcome a guest panelist. We've got Hector Garza. He is no stranger to Beyond the Headlines, having been a guest many times on our panel. Hector currently is the president of the Border Patrol Union in the Laredo sector and serves as the legislative director for the National Border Patrol Council. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you all so much for joining us. Hector, thank you for stepping in this morning. Appreciate having you with us. And Hector, I want to start with you because it's no secret that the Border Patrol has endorsed Republican candidates in the past. So I want to know what you all were looking for. You are the union representative. What were you all looking for to hear from Trump to perhaps go down that road again if you all choose to endorse him?
So first of all, Mindy, the Border Patrol Union is a bipartisan organization. That means that we endorse both Republicans and Democrats. Okay. And the Border Patrol Union likes to support those candidates that support Border Patrol agents and that support border security. And with that being said, the Border Patrol Union this year has actually had a very close relationship with former President Trump. As a matter of fact, we've had a very close relationship. We've had several meetings with him. And we are in the process of making a big announcement where we'll be announcing our endorsement for President Trump. What were we looking for in President Trump? Well, this is a debate, and we know that the debate stage is a good place to debate the nation's top issues. However, for the issues of Border Patrol agents and the Border Patrol Union, we've had long discussions with President Trump, and we're confident that he will secure the border and he will effectively make this country a lot better than what we are right now.
So on that note, Hector, what was it that you did not hear? Did you not hear anything from Harris on what she would do for the border? Or is there something that you just felt would be completely different if she were to win the presidency, as far as border?
Correct. So with Kamala Harris, we actually have not met with her. She has not reached out to the Border Patrol Union. And keep in mind, Mindy, that the Border Patrol Union is the organization that represents over 18,000 Border Patrol agents and support staff in the United States. And we're a very big organization, and it's unfortunate that Kamala Harris has not reached out to the Border Patrol Union. So she has not been seen on the border like other candidates. And some of the candidates that have visited the border have been Republicans and Democrats. As a matter of fact, we even gave a border tour to Nancy Pelosi when she was down here in Laredo because we wanted to make sure that she knew some of our issues that are ongoing in the Laredo sector. Unfortunately, Kamala Harris has not reached out to the union. She has not toured the border. And unfortunately, that is one thing that really weighs in us obviously not supporting her.
Mm-hmm. Sergio, we know that Kamala is was under President Biden, and President Biden had that bill that he was pushing. So what were your thoughts when she mentioned that?
Well, I mean, I think that the Democratic Party has evolved a lot, especially under President Biden, in terms of focusing on border security as a priority. He famously came out in a picture touring the wall, which I think previous Democratic presidents hadn't done. He instituted that limit on amnesty, like if it goes above a certain number, they close the border. The numbers dropped dramatically. So, I mean, I think that the Democratic Party has evolved and is seeing what we're seeing down at the border. And I think that that's going to help Kamala Harris a lot. She is, ultimately, her background is law enforcement. She was the Attorney General of California. She was a prosecutor in California as well. So I think that that issue, the Democrats are sort of shifting rightwards in terms of saying, vocalizing, because I think that the Democrats have always been for strong border security. Barack Obama was referred to as the deporter-in-chief. And the numbers between Democrats and Republican presidents, they don't really change that dramatically in terms of apprehensions or encounters, et cetera. So I think that the Democratic Party is taking a step in the right direction. In the convention, Kamala Harris said we are for strong border security. I think that's going to help us this coming election.
You know, my question, though, Hector, is we've reported on the news that border crossings have decreased, though. So wouldn't that be a reflection, though, on the Democratic Party, or at least under the Biden administration, rather, because the numbers have decreased? So is that not what the ultimate goal was?
So unfortunately, the way some of these apprehensions, encounters are counted along the border, the gotaways, unfortunately, that metric that the Border Patrol uses, unfortunately, it's not very accurate, and it changes from administration to administration. And I'll give you an example. When it comes to reporting gotaways, gotaways are the people that came into the country illegally. They were detected on a security or surveillance platform, but we were not able to apprehend them. That means that they got away. We confirmed that they entered the country legally. However, if we don't have enough agents actually working the line, if we have, for example, under the Biden administration, most of our agents were reassigned to border processing duties. That means that less agents were actually patrolling the border. That means that we had less situational awareness along the border, and we couldn't effectively count some of those gotaways. Now, the other thing is that this administration has made it very difficult for our agents to actually count gotaways. For example, they will actually want us to go out to the field and actually count the people that came across, and if we did not personally witness that crossing, then we cannot count those as gotaways. However, all the evidence that we have, for example, in the middle of a ranch in South Laredo indicates that large groups of people should not be in a certain ranch or in certain parts of the desert. However, we see footprints of 10, 20, 30 people that came across, and nobody apprehended those people. So those numbers, when it comes to apprehensions, are not as accurate as we would like them to be. But going back as to what President Biden instituted in order to decrease some of these numbers that we're seeing now that are being reported, we asked the question, what happened 3 years ago? What happened in the year one when President Biden took over the presidency? He did away with the Remain in Mexico policy. That was one of the most effective policies that we've seen because it discouraged the catch and release. It stopped rewarding illegal immigration.
What other policies under Trump, in terms of the union's decision to endorse Trump? What would you like to see other than the Remain in Mexico? Why is Trump such a more attractive candidate in regards to the border compared to Kamala? Like and compare it, like obviously she was a vice president, obviously during the Biden term compared to the Trump term.
Correct. So if you guys remember back in 2015 when President Trump announced his candidacy for the presidency, his first visit to the border was to Laredo, Texas. President Trump was invited by our Border Patrol Union to come to Laredo and tour the border. We met privately with him, even though there was a lot of political pressure for us to not meet with him. We still met with him and we discussed the border. One of the things that makes President Trump very, very special is that he listens to the men and women of the Border Patrol. He listens to what the ideas that work on the border. For example, we talked about physical barriers. If you remember, President Trump was talking at first about building a solid concrete wall along the border. And we said, President, that doesn't work for us. We need something where we have visibility into the Mexican side. We talked about the catch and release and doing away with catch and release. He instituted the Remain in Mexico policy. We talked about asylum cooperative agreements with other countries. So if you look at what President Trump has done, he has listened to the men and women of the Border Patrol. He has made it very, very public any chance he has to say that he supports the Border Patrol Union and Border Patrol agents, and that he gets some of his guidance from us so that he can make better border security decisions. And our union, again, has had numerous meetings, numerous conversations with President Trump, and we have seen that he has followed through with our recommendations.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I wanted to ask you, we saw the debate. We saw the line about the immigrants eating cats and dogs. We see a lot of exaggerations, a lot of fear-mongering, a lot of things that regular citizens know that's not true, and that's just wanting to fearmonger, wanting to rile people up and scare them into saying there's an invasion, they're coming across the border in hordes. I mean, is that realistic, and does that help the debate when it comes to immigration? Because it's very nuanced, like you said. Instead of a wall from sea to shining sea, the barriers are appropriate in some areas, they actually are a hindrance in some. I mean, do you see any issue with the using of the immigration issue to flame xenophobia, nativism, and things of that nature?
Yeah, well, President Trump has a special way to describe and explain, to talk to the American people and to his supporters and some of those independent voters as well. Something that I can say about the comment about eating the cats and the dogs, we know that this stems out of a report out of Springfield, Ohio, where there's actually some body camera footage that's floating out there where allegedly a complainant is talking about her missing cat or missing dog. However, I have not personally verified that story, but that is where he might be getting some other information. I think for us as people from Laredo and people that work along the border, I worked for Border Patrol for over 24 years. We see what's happening on the border, and we see the crisis and the chaos that has been created by this administration. And at this point, we have no other choice but to choose a candidate that cares about border security, that cares about our #1 issue. And when it comes to our issues as Border Patrol agents and the Border Patrol Union, this is very personal to us because our agents go out to the field. They risk their lives on a daily basis. Our agents have died on the line of duty. They have been assaulted on a regular basis. They've gotten injured chasing people. So for us, this is very personal. Having a border that's out of control is dangerous to our members that we represent, and we would like to see a more safe and secure border.
Okay, well, on that note, we're going to have to leave it there, and hopefully we'll have another debate between the two of them coming soon. Well, when we come back, 2 words and the $20,000 pay raise. Some city council members put the brakes on an ordinance that they say could have raised their salary without public input. We'll discuss that story after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone, to this Sunday's edition of Beyond the Headlines. Well, a proposal to amend a city ordinance could result in a $20,000 pay raise for city council members and the mayor, and all it takes is eliminating just 2 words. That's right. At the last city council meeting, city attorney Zone Wynn proposed to remove the words including allowances from the base salary a council member or the mayor receives. As it currently stands, the mayor receives a base salary of $75,000, including allowances, while council members receive a base salary of $50,000, including allowances. So the proposal was to eliminate the words including allowances, and that's what caught the attention of some council members. What essentially that means is a $20,000 salary increase plus up to $20,000 in allowances. Well, the Laredo Morning Times reports this from District 8 Council Member Alyssa Cigarroa at City Council, criticizing management for allowing others to complain about their pay. In a post on social media, District 6 Council Member Dr. Tyler King said he interprets the change as a net increase, no matter the situation, and called out the initiative. A discussion at the next City Council meeting on September 16th is expected to take place, and that's where we continue this morning's discussion. Once again, Hector Garza is our guest panelist. We appreciate you sticking around for this next discussion, Hector, and of course, Sergio. So explain it to us like we were second graders.
Well, basically, the city attorney on his own said we want to change this ordinance to do away with the including allowances. Right now, they get $20,000 in allowances for them to spend on gasoline, on home offices,
cell phone,
printers, like you name it, cell phone use. They don't have to give receipts for this. They don't have to. That $20,000 is pretty much yours. Use it to be a council member, and that's it. So that pretty much, a lot of people can use a part of it. A lot of people can use all of it. But basically, they get $50,000 for them from the city. This would eliminate that $20,000 as being for allowances. Mm-hmm. So basically now they get the $50,000, and then anything that they spend on
top of that,
they do have to justify it. They do have to. It'll be a reimbursement kind of a scheme where, like, okay, here are my receipts. Okay, right. Here's X to pay you back. But basically what this is ultimately is you're getting
an increase in your base salary.
You're getting an increase in your base salary. You're going to get $20,000 more than what you're getting. Okay. And I mean, the thing is this, obviously if it were done through regular means, it goes on an agenda item. The council members discuss it.
Maybe they talk about it during their budget hearings as well.
That's right. Okay. There's a public testimony, like people can come up, like the members of the public can come up and give their opinion. This was meant to circumvent all that, number one. And number two, there's no fingerprints, there's no on-the-record fingerprints on who was a council member that actually
wanted to do that.
Wanted to do this and approach the city management to put it as an ordinance.
Yeah, because it was done just by the city manager bringing it up.
Exactly. Yeah. So basically, I mean, this council member who's running for re-election obviously doesn't want it on the record
that they want to pay increase.
That they want a $20,000 pay increase.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
You know, I don't... First of all, that's not the right way to do it. I mean, if someone deserves a pay increase, obviously, you know, these are city funds, they're taxpayer money, and the taxpayers need to be able to understand why a $20,000 increase is justified in salary. So the way it was done is just shady. I mean, it's just shady. The other thing that is bothersome is how do you look at other city employees, those that are on a pay grade 1, you know, and you know, are hard-working custodians and bus drivers and people like that. How do you justify it with those folks when you're just gonna, you know, with one little elimination of 2 words, boom, you get 20,000. Some people make 20,000 for the whole year, and this is just a 20,000 just like that. I don't know how you can do that with a straight face.
And,
and these are part-time jobs. On top of that, it's a part-time job. It's not even full-time. So,
well, Mindy, I think it's also important, you know, to also recognize, and I think we all do recognize that our city council people should get paid, right? They're doing a job for public service. But I do agree, right, that there has to be some oversight. There has to be public discussion, public input, just to make sure that the city council people are actually doing what the people are asking them to do.
Exactly.
And anytime you're talking about public funds, that's a very touchy subject and should not be taken lightly. Unfortunately, it was done in this manner, and we hope that something can be done so they can do it the right way, and they could allow some of us in the community to actually say, yeah, we support it, or no, we don't support it, or maybe have discussions about budget issues. But it should be corrected.
Yeah, before they look at giving themselves raises, they should see all of the other city employees and if they deserve raises before the actual city council members. The thing is, the city council members, I mean, a lot of them work very hard, a lot of them don't. Ultimately, they don't clock in. They're not expected to be there from 8 to 5 or anything like that. A lot of their work is cutting ribbons and holding meetings and things of that nature. Important work, of course, but do they deserve $50,000 base salary when other city employees don't make as much, or if they do, like they work really, really long hours to earn that? Ultimately, I mean, yes, you should get compensated. You do have to eat. But at the same time, I mean, it is public service. It does require sacrifices. And the most important thing is you knew what the compensation was before you decided
when you decided to run, right?
Yeah, and now, like, you're very intent on getting in there and trying to
give yourself
get
more.
a raise using your political influence, because council members have obviously a lot more influence to what happens at other employees that don't get a chance to just call up the city manager. Is like, hey, I want to raise, write it in there, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm glad that there was
some discussion.
Some discussion, and I mean, there's also like, hey, there was also the city charter issues and everything. Well, I mean, if you think you deserve it, put it up to the people for a vote, because ultimately they're the ones that pay the salary, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. The last thing I want to say is that this is a part-time job, and several of the council members have other full-time jobs that they do. So, you know, getting $50,000 or up to $95,000 with the mayor, that's on top of a full-time salary that they're already making. So like you said, they knew that this is public service. Public service is supposed to come from the heart. I know you need to get compensated for the work you do, but compensated as a full-time employee just seems a little exorbitant. But
and there's also, Mindy, we also have to consider what other cities are paying their council people when you compare the size of Laredo to the sizes of some other cities. But definitely a focus on the city employees, their benefits, and make sure that we take care of the people.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, on that note, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to take a look at that one thing, including Hector's one thing that he just can't stop thinking about from this past week. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody. It's the one thing our panelists cannot stop thinking about. We're going to start with Hector. I'm sorry, no, we're going to start with Sergio. Sorry about that.
Well, recently, the founder of the Telegram messaging app, his name is Pavel Durov, was arrested in France. And this shocked the world because he obviously is not responsible for what he's being accused of, which is criminals using his platform, which is very secure, to sell drugs, for child porn, for a bunch of evil stuff. So basically, it's a government saying, you know what, we're going to hold you liable. And the New York Times ran an article, Washington Post ran an article saying the revenge of the regulators, because Brazil banned eggs also for sort of the same reasons.
Wow.
So now we're seeing governments really taking a hard line against these internet platforms, holding them accountable.
Well, holding them accountable. That's the theme of the show. Hector.
So I was asked to talk about one topic today, and one activity that I've been engaging in has been gar fishing.
Really?
And I encourage people to go fishing. I encourage people to go enjoy the outdoors. It's a great way to de-stress after a busy day at work. So if you do have the opportunity, enjoy the natural resources that we have in Laredo, Webb
Hector,
County.
Where is this fish at?
And how big
So
is
this is out of Falcon Lake in Zapata.
Wow.
This is a gar that is a game fish that you're allowed to harvest.
Wow.
Not only do you get to harvest it, but you get to eat it in dinner with your family.
Is it good?
As a matter of fact, Rochas Catan sells catan, one of their main dishes. So
wow.
It's a great sport. It's something that we have local, super close by, just an hour away from Laredo. So I just encourage people to enjoy the outdoors and do some physical stuff and enjoy it.
Sounds good. Impressive pictures. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, mine isn't as serious or incredible as that, but I have found my new favorite ice cream right here. This has changed my life. This is a mango chamoy sherbet. It is delicious. I found it just this past week at HEB. And for those who like mangonadas, this is amazing. And I know I feel like I'm doing a commercial for HEB, but you know, mangonadas is such a you know, we go and we purchase it, you know, we have all those, you know, the delicious stuff, but this has just been amazing. It's got chunks of chamoy in it and the mango in it, and it's just really nice. Put a little tajín on it, and you're set. It's a really delicious dessert. So This is my one thing for this week. And I promise next week we're going to try to do a little taste test. I got to bring you all spoons so you can try it. So anyway, with that is a promise, yes. With that ends this episode of Beyond the Headlines. Thank you so much for spending the last 30 minutes with us. We appreciate your time on this Sunday morning. Have a fantastic day and a great week ahead.